Well, we begin with the Fox News alert on two developing stories on national security and presidential politics. One overseas in the battle against ISIS and the other here at home on the presidential trail. Welcome to Happening Now, everybody. I'm Jenna Lee.
Hello, Jenna, and hello, everyone. I'm Eric Shawn, in today for John Scott. The Pentagon now confirming that it will send 2,000 anti-tank shoulder-fired missiles to Iraq, intended to take out those suicide trucks, which, you know, ISIS has used in such devastating effect in its takeover of Ramadi just this past weekend. The State Department also announcing it will release a batch of Hillary Clinton's emails from her time as Secretary of State. We're right now awaiting a White House briefing on the delivery of the weapons to Baghdad. We're also waiting for a State Department briefing in a bit on Mrs. Clinton's emails. Joining us now to talk all about this in a moment will be Chris Wallace.
As we await Chris, we're going to bring in Kevin Corke, who's live at the White House with more on the plan to help Iraq's army defend itself against ISIS and the latest developments that we've just learned over the last hour. Kevin?
Jenna, great reporting by you and Eric, and good day to you folks watching at home. It's fair to say, I believe, that when you look at the 2,000 anti-tank missiles that are going to be sent over to Iraq, it's very likely the very latest example of an administration that is now looking very carefully at its strategy in Iraq and making adjustments based on events that are happening on the ground, most notably events that happened recently in Ramadi. As you point out, there have been so many of these so-called suicide vehicles, and these are massive vehicles, and so these rockets are designed to sort of mitigate that. Those vehicles were used to great success by ISIS in capturing Ramadi. By the way, those weapons should be there sometime by early June, perhaps as soon as next week. That could all shift as the days move along. This, as Iraqi security forces have been forced to regroup outside that city of Ramadi amid criticism by a lot of people that they ran when ISIS came to town. General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff over in Brussels, making this comment, not terribly complimentary, I should add. He said the ISF, the Iraqi security force, was not driven out of Ramadi. They drove out of Ramadi, later adding that they did move to a more defendable position. But as you well know at home, and obviously you folks in the studio know, there's been a lot of criticism about the administration's policy and approach to what's happening in Iraq, and that criticism also extends not far from here over on Capitol Hill. John Boehner, the Speaker of the House, saying that it has come now time for a complete overhaul of the Obama administration's policy in Iraq. Here's the Speaker.
If you look at the troops that we have in Iraq, they're there for two reasons: to secure, frankly, our embassy, and to train the Iraqi troops. And while we're training some troops, I think their hands are being tied because all they're allowed to do is train.
And there's the point. If all they're doing is training, they're not really fighting, at least from an offensive posture, and that seems to be the Speaker's position. We're going to learn a lot more about that coming up, Jenna, as we head into the White House for the press briefing, which is set to begin any moment now. But for now, back to you in New York.
We'll watch for headlines from that briefing. Kevin, great to see you as always. Thank you.